Welcome to Nashville. I'm Ryan Sylvia. This is Noah Taylor. We're with VolReport.com on the Rivals Network. We are at SEC Media Days, and it is Tennessee's day to talk. So that meant we had head coach Josh Heupel and players quarterback Joe Milton, defensive lineman Amari Thomas, and tight end Jacob Warren here to talk about the upcoming season. First, we're going to dive into what Josh Heupel had to say. Noah, what was your biggest takeaway from what Heupel had to say today?
Yeah, it's kind of the obvious one. You know, the biggest offseason news for Tennessee was that NCAA investigation findings, I guess, the results of that punishment that we got last week. That was a big topic of discussion today for Josh Heupel, kind of his first time getting to answer those questions in front of the media. And one of my biggest takeaways, I think, goes back to the 2021 season. We talked about it today. Tennessee considered maybe possibly a self-imposed bowl ban that year, and Josh Heupel didn't think twice about it. He thought that the guys that stayed on this team deserved to play in that postseason game, to really live out the full college football experience. They did that. Not only did Tennessee not get the postseason ban, it paid off, but Amari Thomas today said, and Josh Heupel kind of alluded to it as well, playing in that bowl game was kind of the springboard for their success in 2022. So I think that was such a big deal going back to this city in 2021 when they lost to Purdue in the Music City Bowl, just how big of a game that was for those guys to play in.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting to hear him kind of talk about the intricacies of making those decisions. For me, one thing that stood out was him talking about future SEC rivals, not in the league yet, but next year they'll be in attendance for media days. Texas and Oklahoma. Of course, Oklahoma, Josh's alma mater. He was asked about it, and he said there's no hard feelings. He said that it's nothing to worry about too much, but or that he doesn't have too many hard feelings for them, but that he is excited to get to back to Oklahoma to compete in that game, and he's excited for the opportunity. And when you look at Texas, a built-in rivalry with Tennessee a little bit just because of the orange, the UT versus UT. Josh Heupel put all of it to rest. He said the real UT is Tennessee, and there's only one right shade of orange. So I thought that was interesting to hear from Tennessee's head coach Josh Heupel. We'll pivot on to the players, though. As I said, we had Joe Milton, Amari Thomas, and Jacob Warren. So what was your biggest takeaway from what the players had to say?
I think obviously one people are going to want to talk about is Joe Milton. I mean, this is kind of his team. Last time we got to talk to him was in the spring, and then before that was obviously the 2 weeks leading up to the Vanderbilt game, the Clemson game, when he got to take over as a starter in the wake of Hendon Hooker's injury. But one thing we hear a lot about Joe Milton from coaches, from players, and even him today was just his ability to stay the same. Like, nothing's changed in the way that he's approached the game. I think players feed off that. I think that that's something that's going to really lead to a lot of success for him this year personally, and the guys around him. You know, when they see their quarterback remain calm, remain the same. But he talked a lot too about how much he's grown, not just in this system, but confidence was a big thing. Jacob Warren talked about it a little bit too when we had the local media portion before the players took the stage. Jacob Warren said confidence is kind of the biggest thing he has seen out of Joe Milton this year. Maybe something he didn't have when he came in as a transfer from Michigan. Had a little bit of a rocky start as Tennessee starter before Hendon Hooker took over. But hearing him talk today, hearing the players talk about him, I don't think confidence is an issue for him. And if that matches the playability on the field, I think that's going to be huge for him and Tennessee, obviously.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Joe's confidence is when you talk to Jacob Warren today, he would tell you Hendon is a very confident quarterback, Joe is a very confident quarterback, but in completely different ways. Well, Hendon's kind of a quieter, rally the team with his words, but still just like a hard-working type of confidence, like, I got this. Joe Milton's more of a kind of a swaggy confidence.
Yeah.
But they say it's kind of gives out the same effect.
Yeah.
So I thought that was also a very interesting thing. In terms of Jacob Warren himself, I also thought it was interesting to hear him kind of talk about just the team as a whole going forward. They went from thinking, we hope we win this game, we think we'll win this game, to we know we're going to win this game. We're coming in with the expectation to win, and that is not an option to lose. So that's been a really interesting thing. As you said also, kind of that pivoting point was that Music City Bowl, where from there, they kind of got this new confidence within them that we definitely saw on display in last season as they went 11-2 with an Orange Bowl win and a win over Alabama. That'll do it from us here in Nashville. The next time we'll be back will be for Tennessee versus Virginia over Nissan Stadium, the same place that Music City Bowl took place. Before we leave, Noah, you have a score prediction. A couple months out.
Yeah, it's tough to, I mean, it's not tough to say. I think it will be a Tennessee win. We've talked a lot about that game. Obviously, a program you know well, but if I'm going score prediction now, I'm going to say, you know, first season that we've seen Joe Milton back as a starting, you know, the opener since 2021. There may be some hiccups. He's got some new pieces there on the offense and the receiving core specifically. So I'll say maybe 42 to 21.
Okay.
But pretty lopsided in Tennessee's favor, I'm guessing.
Of course, subject to change. I'll go with a little bit more of a lopsided score. I'll say 52 to 17. I think that Tennessee's in a good position to have another really strong season. Virginia, unfortunately, there's a lot of outside turmoil and situations as of why they might not get out to a hot start as they want to. But I think it should be all Tennessee right here in Nashville. Of course, we'll have you covered. Make sure you go to VolReport.com for all the coverage. Subscribe right here on YouTube. Thank you for watching.